Today guys, we are back with another video. And this is what if Naruto had yin and yang release. If y'all don't know what yin and yang release, basically yin and yang release is pretty much chakra, but better. Yin release is the physical path, which is basically a half of what is used to create chakra, which can be used to create many things, such as fireball jutsu, which is mainly based on yin release, and of course yang release. Yang release being the spiritual side, which is used to create which is focused basically on the shadow possession jutsu and many others. Also, the expansion jutsu is a result of yin release. Yeah, yin release. Let's get directly within this video. Outside of the village, Naruto had just been kicked out of the village. Had just been kicked out of the Leaf Village after the third Hokage had gotten sick and was unable to do his Hokage-ly duties. Danzo had used basically the 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 entire the entire civilian council paired with the some of the paired with some of the what they call them, council, paired with some of the shinobi council. Plus he had two times the power as the current Hokage position had within the council, because of the fact that he was an advisor who was given the same amount of power as the Hokage by the current Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi. Plus, he was now a temporary Hokage. And the Koharu and the other advisors just basically went with it. As a result, Naruto was banished from the Leaf Village. So Danzo's plans would go as planned. Outside of the village, Naruto walked, as he was now a day's worth for civilians, for actually young people. Like, since at this point he was around 5 years old. But as a 5-year-old, his mind was as great as a sage, since his knowledge far surpassed anyone else within the Leaf Village. He had enough knowledge to understand what was Danzo's plan. So instead of going straight forward, like the idiot Danzo thought he would be, he had went to the left and settled. After walking for nearly a day and settled near that place, then he went on to continue his straightforward route, allowing the Anbu to miss him completely. On the outskirts of the Fire Country, around 14 days later, Uzumaki Naruto continued. He remembered hearing of the Grand Uzumaki clan, which was happened to be spoken about between two Jonin, and they were speaking about how the destruction of the Uzumaki clan was terrible. As a matter of fact, they couldn't even take any of their items because of the fact that they had sealed all of their money into some type of sealing vault, along with all of the knowledge in jutsu that they had, so they couldn't do anything. Uzugakure, 14 days later, leading up to a total of almost a month. Naruto had arrived. He was now in front of a massive vault, which was stuffed, which was made out of the hardest metal, combined with the seal of the greatest level 100 sealing, one of the greatest levels of the Uzumaki clan. As a matter of fact, this seal, level 100 seal, was the greatest seal, was the last and final level of sealing. And being that the fact that the Reaper Death Seal was a level 100 seal, it spoke volumes. After all, the level 100 seals were said to be the greatest of them all. But since Minato Namikaze faltered while creating the seal, instead of doing it on paper, like on chakra paper, like it was supposed to do, or using chakra ink, which was made out of chakra, he did none of the sort, instead using hand signs, which in result allowed the Nine Tails to corrupt Naruto's chakra system, effectively allowing his massively perfect chakra control, his overwhelmingly perfect chakra control, which he should have been born with, to be as bad as a baby's chakra control. So, it was saying something. It spoke volumes. The Uzumaki clan were always great proteges. Were always the greatest proteges out there. Even surpassing the Uchiha clan by leagues in terms of their great techniques and abilities. And the Senju clan as well. But due to the fact that the Uzumaki clan were partying and most of their weapons were left at home, and it was a great festival, they fell to the clutches of thousands upon thousands of shinobi. At that point, there were a total of only 500 consecutive adult ninja Uzumaki clan members, which left them completely wiping them completely off the map. Luckily, they had created copies of all of their seals and placed it within one vault. As they had created this, there was two seals within the vault. Level 99, the transfer seal, which was used to transfer all informations that the seal had, and a lock seal, which was level 100. Plus, with Minato's, also by the way, because of Minato faltering during the seal, no, basically doing the seal incorrectly, doing the Reaper Death Seal incorrectly, basically the seal had been demoted from level 100 only to level 25, which was weaker than the Flying Raijin seal, which the Flying Raijin or level 2 Flying Raijin seal, which is the one that Minato used with his seal being a level 26. Obviously, if his Flying Raijin seal could be worn out, after transporting a Biju Dama, then it would be the seal that he had on Naruto would easily be worn out by years. And the Nine Tails could easily break through the seal if he got pissed off or maybe angry, so to speak. At the Whirlpool, Naruto had heard about what these type of seals required, as he then bit his thumb and he rubbed his finger through the engravings on the seal, allowing the seal to make a seal, allowing the vault, the vault's sealing formula to start to open. This was also a combined blood seal. Then they had one up above, which required his forehead to be placed there. As he placed his forehead on top of the vault, then a jolt of knowledge began to pulse within his brain. Knowledge of every single seal created by the Uzumaki clan. And a bit about Kenjutsu style. Plus a message from the clan head before he had met his demise. It said this: Lord Uzumaki, or whoever you are, if you're listening to this or reading this, that means that you are at least of Uzumaki descent. I do not want you to revenge our clan. It shall cause too much problems for your people, seeing as this could be hundreds of years within the future, or a measly 1 year. But we have no knowledge of how great the Grave Nation's powers and abilities are. This is all I leave you, my blade and my robe. You shall customize it all you want. Also, within the within the clan head's library, there is a seal above my painting. Wipe your blood on it. And the in all of the Uzumaki's money will be entrusted to you. Bye. I have to fight if this is my last day, the man said as as the hologram disappeared. As Naruto saw him grab onto a faulty sword, which was weaker than his current sword. As he then looked down to see a sword, he grabbed onto it. He had full knowledge of the sealing ninjutsu and partial knowledge of what was called uh, adamantine chain. And he had a bit of knowledge of something called yin and yang release. So, for the next, I'd have to say 6 years and 11 months, Naruto had trained his ass off to the greatest ability. Plus, using gravity seals in a seal called a massively powerful seal called the time chamber, the time seal, which allowed a certain area which the massive kanji had to be under, since you had to draw a massive kanji or either engrave your chakra into the ground, which was easier but made the seal less authentic and time shorter. It also, the more the time input required massive amounts of chakra, but after you input the amount of time that you want within the seal to go by, it basically depended on how much chakra it would suck up. Afterwards, it would just suck up nature energy as its fuel, which made it one of the greatest seals in the world, placing it at a tier 50 seal. Now, let's begin. Outside. Well, in the Uzumaki room, Naruto quickly sliced down. He sliced down a human clone, which he had made completely with his yin release. He had also discovered the technique that he had called divine push. The divine push is basically the almighty push, since the Rinnegan allows its caster to automatically use his yin and yang release automatically uses yang release to create the almighty push. His Naruto had basically trained with it a bit. He had trained with his yin and yang release to his greatest extent. So now he could easily create things such as iron rods out of nowhere, fire spikes, and many different things. He could also use the shadow possession jutsu without hand signs, seen as the shadow possession jutsu was almost purely yang release. Yeah, it was almost purely yang release. Anyway, Naruto spread out his yang release within the air rapidly, as in he moved it in a certain direction, making everything push forward, which was basically what the almighty push was. So he could use his version of the almighty push, which he called the divine push. Plus, he had almost a year. He had placed the time setting for each month to be a year. So the 12 times 6, that would be just incredible. So yeah, that would just be a lot of years of him just raw ass training. So all of these techniques are well within Naruto's possible range for this what if, by the way. Naruto rapidly pushed energy out as it shot forward. All he got to do is just push small amounts of yin yang release into the air, and then nature energy would flow towards it, building up massively. He could improve the time. He could improve the time limit for this by controlling his yang release to make it build up nature energy faster, which Pain seemed to not feel like doing within the what if, which would give Naruto a massive within the original, which would give Naruto a massive, basically a massive upper hand over Pain, by the way. So yeah. Almighty! No. Divine push! Naruto said as then he unleashed a massive current of yin and nature, yang release in nature energy. With this massive amount, since he hadn't perfected it to the level that the Rinnegan gave its user, instead of the normal, I just push you away, it completely turned whoever was within the range into a stone statue of himself. Of themselves. Or sometimes tree. Or sometimes a tree. Almighty! No. Divine push! Divine push! Divine push! Naruto said within his mind as he smiled. He had lowered the time period between pushes significantly. Now the push would happen almost instantly, with the time period being smaller than Pain's by 4 seconds, leaving him with 1 second between each push. Of course, that is a result of Naruto not associating it with certain things. Now, what I mean by this, by the way, this is going to be part 0. Now, what I mean, or it might be part 1. It's most likely going to be part 0. Now, what I mean by, basically, doing this stuff. Like, users could possibly do jutsus without hand signs. If they basically made the jutsu remind them of something, make something related towards their jutsu. So, say if I was like this, water style, going through hand signs and bullcrap, and my chakra is mixing and all. Water style, water genjutsu. So I'm unleashing water turrets, and it seemed like there's not water at all coming towards them, but there's water coming towards them, and it hits them, and they just get shot into the ground. I could do that possibly faster if I just learn, if I relate the process to something. So once I think of it, I'll be like, hey, water balloon. And then that specific jutsu will shoot out as it just, the process has already within my mind been related to something. So water balloon basically means water genjutsu, the water genjutsu style. So yeah, basically if I drop the water ball jutsu or water balloon, I use the water balloon and associate that with it. So my body, once I think of that thing, it automatically goes to doing it without requiring hand signs. So it's more like water balloon, water genjutsu shit. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Anyway, so back towards canon. Well, back towards my what if. Naruto looked at his progression. It was astounding. He was happy with the results. As a matter of fact, he was more than happy with the results. He could now use the almighty, the divine push with precise accuracy. As we then look at a tree, the tree had a small hole through it. And Naruto bent down as he looked through the hole, as he saw through almost miles of trees with a hole in them. That's perfection, Naruto said, as then he noticed something. From that direct hole, the tree began to turn into stone. He then said, is this a new Kekkei Genkai? Other than my Uzumaki chains and complete lightning control? And I don't know if this is a Kekkei Genkai or not, but Anime King said it. And you know that your boy, he like an Anime King copycat. So he like, damn, that's real as fuck. I don't know whether this is actually real, but it is real since Anime King said it. Just like, with some other shit. It was like, the forest of death used to belong to Kushina. So I'm like, did it? So I'm like, since I don't feel like searching it up, I'm like, fuck it, it belonged to her. And that's the end of this little nasty part 0.